In the headlines, police in Katsina arrest 25-year-old foot soldier of bandits leader Bello Turji. Governor Nasru El-Rufai calls for establishment of theater command as 1,192 are killed by bandits in Kaduna State. 62 billion naira HIV trust fund launched in Abuja to address scourge of HIV virus. And on the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau President Embalo attribute failed coup to drug trade. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayubelia. Thank you for joining. The news in details. Police in Katsina arrest 25-year-old Naziru Sani, a foot soldier of bandits leader Bello Turji, who specializes in terrorizing innocent communities in Katsina, Zamfara and Sokoto states. Others arrested are a 7-man syndicate of kidnappers terrorizing Katsina city. Trust TV's Abdullahi Ahmadi has details of the report.
Why Shugabanka?
I'm a member of Bello Turji camp. I'm his loyalist. I participated in several attacks carried out by Bello Turji and killed over 20 people. The 7 armed kidnappers arrested in connection with the abduction of one Anwar Abdul Qadir of Sabongida quarters in Katsina Metropolis are Yusuf Usman, Kabir Bello, Sani Musa and Salisu Yau. The suspects have confessed to have conspired with one Ibrahim alias Namadi and others at large in kidnapping Anwar Abdul Qadir, who was rescued and hurt after 14 days in captivity. The police in Katsina have also succeeded in arresting a soothsayer, Abdullahi Bello Kandamo from Niger Republic, who gives charms to notorious bandits, and recovered 2 motorcycles and 8 GSM phones from him.
A team of detectives led by OC Anti-Kidnapping Unit CSP Alphonse Andrew carried out investigation which led to the arrest of the masterminds of the kidnapping and other similar kidnappings and cattle rustling that is happening within the Katsina metropolitan area.
Similarly, 2 notorious suppliers of intoxicants to bandits were arrested by the police in possession of 2,400 bottles of pentazocine injection. Those arrested are Bello Sani and Ma'aruf Muhammad, who confessed to have been supplying the intoxicants to bandits in Dumburum forest. I supply intoxicants to bandits. I buy each at 70 naira only and sell to bandits at 200 naira. I make profit. That's the way of my business. I assist bandits to purchase motorcycles from Kano. Each motorcycle I collect 50,000 naira for conveying it to the Dumburum forest to bandits. In a related development, a combined team of police and vigilante have repelled bandits' attack on Ergoji village of Kankara local government and recovered 1 AK-47 rifle with 2 rounds of live ammunition. The Katsina State Police Command is also investigating 2 fraudsters who specialized in defrauding people through ATM swap. Those arrested are Aminu Rabiu of Dandaguru and Aliu Abdullahi of Kasuwar Mata in Funtua and Batagara local government areas of Katsina State. Abdullah Aliu was said to have confessed of deceitfully swapping the ATM card of one Mariam Saleh Katsina and withdrew all her lifetime savings, including her gratuity, to the tune of about 2 million naira. The police public relations officer, Katsina State Command, SP Gambo Isa, who paraded the suspects, told journalists that they will be charged to various courts of competent jurisdiction after investigation. He, however, called on the public to have a rethink and ensure proper counseling of their children for proper upbringing. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Meanwhile, no fewer than 1,192 persons have been killed by bandits in Kaduna State between January to December 2021. This is coming as Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai calls for establishment of military theater command in the state. The Kaduna State Commissioner, Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, gives the figure at the presentation of the State Annual Security Report. The report.
The commissioner explained that Kaduna Central recorded the highest number of killings with 720 in the year under review. He noted that the figure is higher than that of 2020 with 937.
1,192 were killed across the state. 3,348 citizens were kidnapped. 891 citizens were injured. 13,623 cattle were rustled in 2021.
Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai appeals to the federal government to see the possibility of creating a theater command in bandit strongholds similar to that of the Northeast to enable a holistic approach in dealing with terrorists.
We urge our military, police and other security agencies to ensure coordinated actions and intensify simultaneous kinetic operations against these terrorists until they are decimated to the point of surrender. The Kaduna State government appeals to the federal government to create a theater command similar to the situation in the Northeast to confront the insurgency that has clearly emerged in 5 states of the Northwest and Niger State that share continuous and contiguous forest ranges. The creation of such a theater command will enable a holistic approach to counter-insurgent operations across the 6 affected states and the enhanced coordination of the resources of the armed forces, the Nigerian Air Force, the Nigerian Army and the Navy, as well as the police, the SSS, our respective state vigilance services, hunters and other local volunteers to fight these insurgents.
The governor also re-emphasized his earlier position that bandits must be dealt with as there is nothing like repentant bandits.
We continue to emphasize as a state government that we do not believe there is any phenomenon like repentant bandits. Any person that makes a conscious decision to secure arms, challenge the authority of the Nigerian state and threatens the lives and property of Nigerians does not deserve to live or to be granted any concession by the society. There are no immediate or remote causes to justify terrorist conduct. Those that hide behind this are either ethnic jingoists, religious apologists, or fail to recognize that no legitimate government or society can survive by tolerating terrorists or negotiating with those that menace law-abiding citizens.
The report also showed that 3,348 people were kidnapped in the state in the year under review.
Staying with security matters, stakeholders in the Northern Security Architecture Tuesday brainstormed to find lasting solutions to the challenges facing the region. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that convener of the summit and Sultan of Sokoto Saad Abubakar III tasked stakeholders to engage in frank talks on the challenge with a view to addressing the contemporary security issues plaguing the region. The report.
The traditional institution, as a custodian of the people's heritage, security and well-being, is worried over the deteriorating security situation in the region, regarded as the hotspots of terrorism, kidnapping and other sundry crimes.
We do not lack decisions, recommendations that have been offered over the years at various meetings. I know we have met with the Northern Governors Forum in Kaduna at the government house there. So many times, at least I can say 3-4 times as chairman. We've met at so many other levels and discussed some of these issues about insecurity. For some of us, it's even sounding like a broken record.
Stakeholders in the region's security architecture are assembled here to discuss frankly what led the region into a theater of criminal activities with devastating consequences on its economy, prosperity and stability.
This summit therefore carry out a thorough appraisal of the causes of the various forms of insecurity and also advance solutions to curing them. It is expected, therefore, that we look at what is working and what is not, with a view to strategizing and putting an end to the activities of criminals.
The challenges are so vast that doubts are being raised about the survival of our country as a nation. What are these challenges? Kidnapping, armed robbery, religious and tribal conflicts. Our country has now become notorious for banditry and kidnapping. We are among the world's top 8 kidnapping hotspots, alongside war zones and failed states such as Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and Somalia.
The northern region is currently experiencing security challenges such as terrorism, kidnapping, insurgency, farmers' hardest conflicts amongst others, undermining its economy, stability, food security, in addition to displacing millions of rural dwellers. The outcome of the summit is expected to provide solutions to the contemporary security challenges bedeviling the region. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the case against 5-year-old Hanifa Abubakara has been transferred to a Kano State High Court from the magistrate court that first heard the case. Prosecution counsel Aisha Mahmood said that the suspects, including her teacher Abdul Malik Tanko, are facing 5-count charges bordering on conspiracy, murder and kidnapping.
On the first head of charge, a charge against Fatima, the second defendant, for abatement. We also have a head of charge for the attempt to commit the offense by the two. The second and third, that is Hashimu and Fatima. Then a charge of homicide against Abdul Malik. That's the principal offender.
Police in Kano have arrested 6 persons, including a 55-year-old identified as Musa Safianu of Naibawa Yenglemu Quarters, Kumboto local government area of Kano State, for running an illegal rehabilitation center, and rescued 133 inmates confined and locked up in a room. The State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Abdullahi Kiawa, stated this on Tuesday in a statement. He said that the police received a report from the 10 of the victims that escaped from the illegal center in chains and tortured, while one of the victims, 22-year-old identified as Aminu Ado of Naibawa Quarters, Kano, tortured to death by one 18-year-old Abdul Ladif Musa of Naibawa Wailari Quarters, Kumboto local government area. On preliminary investigation, the suspects confessed to have been operating the center for over 10 years, despite the initial ban by Kano state government. Now, ahead of the FCT Area Council election scheduled for the February 12th, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has convened a meeting with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, ISIS, to map out strategies towards ensuring the provision of adequate security during the poll. Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, during his address stated that the Commission will intensify its engagement with stakeholders to ensure a peaceful and credible process.
Leaders, transport providers, civil society organizations, and the media. We will work with all stakeholders to ensure that the forthcoming election is peaceful and our processes credible. That is why this meeting is crucial. Securing the environment is the foundation for a peaceful, well-organized and credible election. This was clearly demonstrated in the peaceful conduct of the recent Anambra State governorship election. Let us make the FCT Area Council election another shining example of a peaceful election.
The FCT election is not known to have
to have reported any form of violence in the past. And he urged all security agencies to replicate the level of professionalism being exhibited in the last November election as we look forward in conducting this FCT election.
Nigeria's government treats 50,000 people living with HIV and AIDS out of nearly 2 million patients in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised that his administration will continue to prioritize health interventions to address killer diseases and public health emergencies. The president made the promise on Tuesday in Abuja while launching a 62 billion naira HIV trust fund of Nigeria to help Nigeria end AIDS as a public health threat and place more people living with HIV on treatment annually. The report.
About $6.2 billion has been spent on HIV response in Nigeria. About 80% of the funds were contributed by external donors, mainly the U.S. AIDS Relief and the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria. The private sector contributed 0.1% to 2% of total funds, with the rest of funds provided by the Nigerian government. Launching the trust fund, President Muhammadu Buhari said at the last United Nations General Assembly high-level meeting on HIV and AIDS, he called for a renewed global action to address the HIV and AIDS epidemic in Africa, noting that ending AIDS as a public health threat in Nigeria will require increased domestic funding.
We have continued to make good our commitment of placing more people living with HIV on treatment annually using national resources. However, strong domestic resources mobilization with an enduring partnership and shared responsibility is required to sustain the response to HIV and other emerging public health emergencies. Our purposeful partnership with the private sector in our response to coronavirus pandemic provide a readily available financing solution that we can leverage on to sustain the HIV response.
He commended the National Agency for the Control of AIDS and the Nigeria Business Coalition Against AIDS for their efforts in establishing the HIV Trust Fund of Nigeria to secure a generation of babies free of HIV. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, said the launch will guarantee funding from the private sector-led resources for HIV interventions, especially for the elimination of the mother-to-child transmission of the virus.
The establishment of a private sector-led coalition against COVID-19, CAR-COVID, clearly demonstrates private sector's renewed commitment to support national response to emergencies and pandemics.
Today marks an important milestone in building a coherent strategy for private sector engagement against HIV/AIDS. As we launch this fund, I am reminded that we have about 2 million of our compatriots living with HIV/AIDS. And it is our collective responsibility to bring this number down to 0. We have heard what the problem is, what the facts are, and the rationale for the HIV Trust Fund of Nigeria. I don't need to go over them. My job is to encourage all of us to contribute to this $100 million fund that will be led by our very able Dr. Chikwe Ozomeni.
Also speaking, the Director General of National Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Gambo Aliyu, said within the last 3 years, the agency has identified and placed on treatment an additional 900,000 persons living with HIV, bringing the total number of Nigerians on HIV treatment to 1.7 million. The Director General, while justifying the need for the fund, said providing lifelong treatment to all persons living with HIV, even after successfully stopping new HIV infections, would require a domestically sustainable financing mechanism.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. rent payment in Abuja to go monthly. Join us again for more details.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
Thanks for staying. You're watching Trust News Update. Let's have another look at some of the top stories again. Police in Katsina arrest 25-year-old Naziru Sani, a foot soldier of bandits leader Bello Turji, who specializes in terrorizing innocent communities in Katsina, Zamfara and Sokoto states. Plus, Governor Nasir El-Rufai has called for establishment of military theater command in Kaduna State as 1,192 persons have been killed by bandits between January to December 2021. Going to other news now, Nigeria on Tuesday records 159 new coronavirus infections across 8 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, in the latest statistics released on Wednesday morning, said the country's infection toll from the disease has increased to 253,340 cases, while the fatality toll remains at 3,136. The NCDC noted that the 57 confirmed cases reported in Lagos State are made up of 26 for January and 31st for February 1. The Public Health Agency said 335 patients, including 172 community cases reported from the FCT, are discharged. Now, youths in Gombe State want more inclusion in the proposed Muhammadu Buhari Industrial Park. A cross-section of youths in Gombe share their opinion on the project. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail reports.
In 2021, Gombe State government awarded a 16.4 billion naira contract for the construction of an industrial park located in Yamal Tudeba, local government area of the state. The Muhammadu Buhari Industrial Park is expected to provide jobs to thousands of Nigerians.
Investors that have interest can come and invest here and provide jobs and social welfare to our people, so that we'll uplift all these people that you see. You can see we have a lot of youth.
As work commences in the site, some youth in Gombe State are calling for more inclusion to benefit more from the project.
People will come from different regions of the world and invest, and that investment, it is going to build our sectors, especially, you know, most of the industries, they are using modern equipments which they are related to ICT, and then it is going to help a lot in terms of revenue generation, in terms of human development.
National Bureau of Statistics used to file some figures about the teeming youth across the country. Even the Gombe State Governor, Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya, recently announced that there are more than 100,000 youth, the graduates, who are looking for the job across Gombe State. So this will help to improve the social and economic well-being of the citizens of Gombe State.
The park is also expected to attract investors for job creation and revenue generation to the government. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now, payment of annual rent in Abuja will be a thing of the past as the Nigerian Senate passes for second reading a bill seeking to regulate rent payments in the Federal Capital Territory. The proposed legislation, sponsored by Senator Smart Adeyemi, specifically seeks to stop yearly advance payment of rents and compel house owners to collect rent monthly in arrears. The report.
The sponsor of the bill, Senator Smart Adeyemi, representing Kogi West, in his lead debate said the bill is to help cushion the effect of outrageous rent on properties in Abuja, the nation's capital. He observed that many properties in Abuja remain empty as a result of outrageous rent placed on them, noting also that a large number of people who reside in the capital territory put up in shanty towns.
Distinguished colleagues, you may wish to know that many residents of the FCT are finding it difficult to cope with huge rent payments. And as an aftermath to this, Mr. President, many houses built within the city center for such purposes are empty. Of course, they were equally empty because some of these houses were built for stolen funds. Therefore, Mr. President, legislation must be aimed towards a better and developed society and towards justice, fairness, equity, and improved standard of living.
Other senators who equally threw their weight behind the bill described the proposed law as people-oriented.
Except if you have somebody who is within the city center, majority of them are actually within the outskirts, either in Nasarawa State, Niger State, or some parts of other states that are joining the FCT. This is because, like we all know, it's extremely difficult for most of these young Nigerians to get the quantum of money that represents 2 years' rent.
We have to do something to the masses of this country. And the only way we can do it is to make sure that this is paid monthly rather than being paid in, let's say, in advance. Because the real situation is that most of the people are salary income earners. And some of them, even if you take their 3 years salary, they cannot pay the money required for advance payment.
The system that we operate today encourages corruption in the service. And if this Senate can take an action that will find or give no justification for public servants and civil servants to get engaged in corruption, then we will have the moral authority to come so hard on corrupt officials. But where we operate a system that makes it impossible for people to survive under an ideal situation, I think we have not utilized the provision of this constitution as provided by the framers of our constitution.
In opposing the bill, Senator Chimaroke Nnamani said rents are determined by market forces like the cost of acquiring land and building materials, among others.
It should be driven by market forces. Such market forces as availability of land, cost of building materials, income. If government wants to ameliorate the sufferings of the masses, government can go into housing schemes, mortgage schemes, housing credit facilities, not control the business of private individuals in an emerging African democracy.
I therefore oppose vigorously this bill.
His position, however, did not stop the passage of the bill for second reading.
A bill for an act to regulate the mode of payment of rent on residential apartments, office spaces, etc. in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and for other matters connected there with 2022, second reading taken.
The bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Housing, given 4 weeks to report back to plenary for further legislative input.
And now on the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau's President Umaru Embalo survived an attempted coup on Tuesday, but confirmed that some security forces had been killed, repelling an attack on democracy that may have been linked to drug trafficking. Appearing in an evening video posted on the Guinea-Bissau president's Facebook page, Embalo said that the attackers tried to enter the compound just after the cabinet meeting, but were repelled. Earlier, heavy gunfire rang out near a government compound where Embalo had been chairing a cabinet meeting. Meanwhile, the African Union and West African Bloc ECOWAS condemn what they described as an attempted coup. The fast-moving events in the former Portuguese colony on the West African coast is coming just over a week after the military in Burkina Faso, another country in the region, deposed the president there. Poverty-stricken Guinea-Bissau is viewed by the United Nations as a major waypoint for Latin America cocaine headed for Europe. US and European authorities have long suspected that some of the country's military are involved in the drug trade. Embalo, who had enjoyed strong support from the military during a previous political crisis, suggested in his video that the army is not involved in Tuesday's attack. Well, with that, we wrap up Trust News Update, but you can always connect with us via our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.